Interestingly, we get the big jugs of bottled water delivered to our house and supposedly nice fresh water. I looked at the label one day and realized what we were getting in those bottles was tap water from a water station in a city in South Carolina. Hi, I'm Dr. Judy Morgan, your pet's advocate. Have you ever thought about what type of drinking water you give to your pets? Frankly, I've never given it that much thought, and I've given my pets all kinds of different water throughout the years. Sometimes they've had bottled spring water, sometimes they've had well water, sometimes they've had city water, and right now we have a reverse osmosis system on our well, which removes all the heavy metals. Am I leaving them devoid of minerals? I don't know. I think they're getting them through their diet, but this is a big question, and a lot of people feel really passionately about it. When you're on social media, bring up the subject of what kind of water should I be giving to my pets, and you are going to get a lot of different answers. So, what's in your drinking water? What's the pH of your drinking water? Is that affecting the urine pH of your pet? Could that be contributing to issues with bladder stones or crystals in the urine? A lot of questions to be answered. The environmental working group looked at U.S. tap water and found over 320 different toxins that are in our tap water. And we know that some tap water is worse than others. Interestingly, we get the big jugs of bottled water delivered to our house so that we have instant hot water, instant cold water, and supposedly nice fresh water. I thought we were getting spring water. I looked at the label one day and realized what we were getting in those bottles was tap water from a water station in a city in South Carolina. I wasn't paying all this money to get tap water from a city in South Carolina, so had to put an end to that. So you gotta read labels, even on your water. Scary. So what are some of the toxins that have been found by the Environmental Working Group? PFAS, those forever chemicals. They accumulate in the body and they don't break down in the environment. They've been linked to cancer, immune system suppression, fetal harm, and reduced vaccine effectiveness. Yeah, those are good things. Disinfection byproducts. Chlorine disinfectants used to treat water can form harmful byproducts linked to cancer and reproductive health issues. Heavy metals. Arsenic is a naturally occurring mineral, but it causes bladder, lung, and skin cancer, as well as harm to the skin and lungs. Chromium-6 is a carcinogen made infamous by Aaron Brockovich. Nitrates from farm runoff and wastewater can contaminate drinking water, especially in rural areas. VOCs, volatile organic compounds like trichloroethylene or TCE, perchloroethylene, and benzene are widespread contaminants linked to industrial pollution and environmental persistence. These chemicals, even at low concentrations, can cause cancer, liver damage, and neurologic issues. And radiological contaminants from radium and uranium. That was detected in many water systems, sometimes exceeding EPA limits. Long-term exposure can lead to neurological disorders, developmental delays, and organ damage. When we lived in New Jersey, every time you bought or sold a house, you had to have the house tested for radon. We don't have to do that in North Carolina, so we're being exposed to these things that we don't even know about. In Europe, almost all of the waterways are contaminated with pesticides, particularly fipronil, but many of the pesticides that we're putting on our pets are now finding their way into the waters, and so when we test the hairs of children, they're filled with these contaminants. Environmental Working Group has a tap water database, so you can check the water quality in the area where you live. You just put in your zip code, and you can get a detailed report on your local water supply and potential contaminants that are present. If you're like me, I live on a farm, so I've got my own well. We're not on city water, but we've had our water tested many times, which is why we ended up with the reverse osmosis system, because we had a contaminated well. Another option is to research the quality of your water by accessing your community's annual quality report. You can go on the NRDC, which is the Natural Resources Defense Council report called What's on Tap, and ask your water utility for a copy of its annual water quality report. Interestingly, when we lived in New Jersey, we were living in town and we were on city water, and I said, oh, that'd be really interesting. Let me look at the testing for our city water. What I found out is there were actually 4 different water towers, and they hadn't been tested for many years. So I guess if you don't test, you don't know, so you don't have to do anything. I don't know. Should you filter your pet's water? A veterinary study published in 2022 concluded pollutants in tap water increase the risk of certain cancers in dogs, and that filtering tap water could decrease the overall incidence of these cancers. Researchers found dogs with bladder cancer were more likely to live in areas with higher tap water concentrations of total trihalomethane. It's a reactive product of disinfection chemicals, especially chlorination, which are often used in municipal tap water. Given that tap water likely contains harmful substances like toxins and carcinogens, a water filter would be a smart investment for the entire household. Well, now I have a reverse osmosis system. It's pretty well filtered. So there's a lot of different filters that are available. So it'd be good to test the water first, see what kind of contaminants you have, and then base your water filtration or purification system on what is found in that testing. So drinking water options, countertop filtered water. A countertop filter is likely going to be the most economical. The Environmental Working Group tested 10 different countertop water filter brands and found that the effectiveness varied significantly. No shock there. So you can check out the EWG's guide on water filtering systems. Bottled water. A lot of people think bottled water is a good choice. However, water in plastic bottles contains endocrine disrupting chemicals and microplastics. Well, that's just great. Now I'm drinking microplastics instead of the contaminants. This is lovely. In the Herbal Dog, Rita Hogan suggests even a simple countertop filter is better than tap or bottled water. So reverse osmosis water filters use pressure to force water through a semi-permeable membrane to produce a treated stream of water and a stream of reject water. According to the Environmental Protection Agency, these systems can potentially remove water contaminants such as lead, volatile organic compounds, PFAS, arsenic, bacteria, and viruses, which we also had that. These systems can generate a significant amount of wastewater, so they may not be the most ecologically friendly option. Look for systems that create minimal wastewater during treatment. Well, that just explained to me why I have a pipe coming out of my well into my field. I guess that's where the wastewater is going. So there's some controversy whether reverse osmosis water is a good option for pets. Rita Hogan, again, warns you should replace the minerals if you're using reverse osmosis water for your pets because it can lead to kidney issues over time due to lack of minerals. Dr. Peter Tobias agrees, saying, unfortunately, reverse osmosis removes minerals in addition to harmful contaminants, but that can lead to mineral depletion. Distilled water has a reputation for being the cleanest water. Distillation systems boil water and then collect the water as it cools. According to the CDC, the chemicals distillation will remove include arsenic, barium, cadmium, chromium, lead, nitrate, sodium sulfate, calcium, magnesium, and many organic carbon-containing chemicals. However, distillation does not remove some volatile organic compounds, volatile solvents, and certain pesticides. So again, distilled water, we're getting some mineral depletion there. Dr. Tobias says the main problem is that distilled water is void of natural minerals, and drinking distilled water results in the body losing cellular minerals and reduces the electrolyte balance. According to a World Health Organization report, demineralized water needs to be fortified with minerals to avoid serious health concerns. Dr. Karen Becker says, I like to use distilled water with pets as a means of periodic detoxification. What I've seen longer term, though, is it seems to have a profound mineral leaching effect that could be detrimental over time. Many animals are already mineral deficient, particularly those on homemade diets that are not balanced, and I've seen some negative consequences with animals' ability to replenish their minerals when they're on distilled water longer than, let's say, a year. Alkaline water. This one I hear a lot about. It has a pH above 7. It's a topic of debate in human health, claiming numerous health benefits, so naturally people think that pets can experience the same benefits. pH of the drinking water can affect the urine pH of our pets. The optimal urine pH is critical for prevention of crystals and stones. Struvite crystals will form in urine with a pH above 7.5. So if your pet is eating an optimal, high moisture, species appropriate diet and still makes abundant crystals, you might want to test the pH of your water. You can do it with a urine pH strip. Any pH strip will work. One of my clients tested multiple types of water with pH strips, and they all had a different pH. One was acidic, one was a 7, which is where water should be, and one was very alkaline, very high pH. And she had a dog who kept making stones, and it kept going from one type of stones to the other type of stones, and then she discovered she had problems with the water. So Dr. Peter Tobias says the market has been flooded with alkalizing water filters. However, I do not generally recommend them for dogs, nor do I use them for my own water filtration. I agree with him. His experience is that alkaline water caused increased urine urine production, and that may be a sign of kidney strain. When it comes to dogs, the optimum pH of canine blood is slightly acidic, and the ideal urine pH would be around 6.5. This is the main reason he doesn't recommend alkaline water for dogs, and I agree with him. And Dr. Karen Becker says, I saw cats drinking alkaline water whose urine pH crept up and they developed struvite crystals, magnesium ammonium phosphate stones, which are struvite stones, bladder stones, kidney stones, and so on. Additionally, she noted, I was seeing a whole lot more kidney stones in dogs and cats drinking alkaline water, so I started telling people, if you're going to give your pet alkaline water, you better be testing the pH of their urine. The minute the pH goes up to 7, you need to discontinue the alkaline water. That was her standard advice, and she's tried to do her due diligence in preventing kidney and bladder issues. The water that we and our pets drink has the potential to be contaminated with a lot of toxins, including forever chemicals, including bacteria, viruses, plastics, carcinogens. Giving filtered water is an easy way to decrease their exposure and potentially increase their lifespan. There's enough information out there to make your head spin for sure. But these are the most common types that I see talked about. You need to decide with your budget, your circumstances, your pet's health, check your pet's urine pH, and that can help you decide which type of water to give to your pets. And if you do have distilled water or reverse osmosis water, you might want to consider adding some more minerals back into the diet, doing hair analysis tests to see if they're deficient in their mineral composition. Decide what is best for you and for your pets.